Hi there. Welcome to my website today. I'm Jim Brown. I thought I'd talk a little bit about last week's column. Got a lot of interest, even from you folks who don't live in Louisiana, about the politics that takes place down in the crazy Bayou state, and it certainly gets wild sometimes. We've got a big governor's race coming up here in less than 2 months, and it's kind of an anomaly, if you will. We've got a Democratic governor elected as kind of a fluke 4 years ago because of the disintegration of the Republican. This is a Republican state. Donald Trump gets more votes here in Louisiana than practically any other state, or at least a higher percentage than any other state in the country. And so as a consequence, it's a red state, very hard for Democrats to be elected. There's only one statewide Democrat elected, and that's the governor. And he won because of a conflict involving the U.S. senator, some scandal involving the U.S. senator that was running against him in the runoff. And John Bel Edwards very astutely was able to pull off a big victory. He's worked hard to build a blend of support and done a pretty good job, quite frankly. If I were advising him, I'm a guy that ran for governor 25 years ago in Louisiana. I'd have a hard time telling him something he should have done. He's reached out a good bit. He's brought in a number of Republican supporters. He's raised a lot of money. He's made the trains run on such time. Someone said, "What's your big knock against John Bel Edwards?" I don't really have a knock. I just think that in the line of so many governors we've had in the past, there is no vision. They make the trains run on time. But as far as looking towards the future and realizing that we've got some momentous leaps to make in making up the deficit, the differences, we say, well, we're trying hard to catch up with states above us, but they're trying hard to move up too. And so you've got to do a real yeoman's job of making these big leaps to close the education gap, to close the gap of taking care of the infrastructure, to take care of so many needs that are here right now and still run a very efficient government. Huge challenge, huge challenge. I think you've got to make the right change run on time. You got to make them run on time, but every now and then you got to sit back and say, okay, what do I expect as far as the future of the state 20, 30 years down the line, and what can I do to attain that? John Bel Edwards is hoping to win in the first primary. He's got two major opponents, two good opponents. One is Congressman Abraham, who's out of Northeast Louisiana, my old part of the state, and he's a veterinarian by training, been a popular congressman up that way, comes from that rural corner. And quite frankly, it takes a long time to build a base if you're running for governor. I think he started awfully late if he's going to make a solid move. There's also a guy named Eddie Risponi, who has never been elected before, raised has a lot of money, committed to put $10 million of his own money. I don't know if I'd want to spend $10 million to be governor of Louisiana or any public office or president for that matter. But he's committed to do so, raise the money on television right now with his campaign. He says he's a businessman, not a politician. That's basically the move he's made. Edwards is right up at 50% in most of the polls that are showed, quite frankly. And so as a consequence, he needs his best to try to win in the first primary. If he doesn't, and say he gets in the runoff with one of the two other candidates, Risponi or the Congressman Abraham, then the issue becomes, does the president and the National Republican Party really gravitate to Louisiana? This is the only race that's being run throughout the country this year of any consequence on the statewide level. And so you'll see a lot of pressure put on the White House, the Republican National Group, to come in and put big dollars in behind the Republican, whoever he may be. It's going to be a he because of those two major candidates running. So John Bel Edwards knows that's going to happen. He's got a pretty good relationship. He brags that he's Donald Trump's favorite Democrat. I don't know what that favor that brings you, but that's what he says. As a consequence, can he keep the president out from going ahead and making this difference in the campaign? That's the big challenge and the big issue. So if he can't win the first, look for a real major effort by some Republicans to make this an all-out war with national Republicans coming in against national Democrats. The only other race on the ballot statewide is the insurance commissioner's race. I know something about that because I served as Louisiana insurance commissioner for 12 years. But a guy named Jim Dodlin, who's been there for a long time, kind of a lifelong politician, held a number of other offices, running against a newcomer who challenges Dodlin, saying we don't need career politicians. We need someone with insurance experience that Temple has. Temple's on TV right now. Dodlin's not. Temple has strong resources, raised a lot of money, and it's going to be a heck of a challenge. Donald's in the fight of his life, and at his older age, there's a real contrast between the two. So that'll be a real barn burner in the weeks to come, and I'll kind of keep you posted as it moves forward. Legislative races are somewhat non-committal, if you will. Many incumbents are reelected, not a lot of excitement on the local level. So the whole focus in my home state of Louisiana is the governor and the insurance commissioner. We'll talk some more about that coming up in the weeks to come. Going to write a column this week. Hope you take a look at it here in a few days, posted on Greenland. Should we buy Greenland? A lot of people are criticizing the president over his decision to try to buy Greenland. You know, we bought all kinds of countries in our past, and my home state, Louisiana, has been actively involved in the process. Look for that new column. It'll be posted here in a day or two. Glad you spent some time with me today. Take care. Talk to you soon.